Welcome. Welcome so much, everybody. Welcome. Um, I was inspired to give this talk because I have been dating a lot in the last 2.5 years. I have met 37 men. I'm straight. That's fine. I'm straight and I am looking for, a man. So I've met 37 men through online dating in the last 2.5 years. And I realized that I've also made a bunch of new friends, and not necessarily through dating, but because I'm getting better at dating, I'm getting better at making friends. And it's really, really crucial in this time to get excited about making friends. I don't know what your lives are like, but loneliness abounds. It's a lonely, lonely time after the pandemic, after what we've gone through, the political divisions in the US, the winter in the US, the family holidays in the US, all of these stresses come and we're lonely and everyone's lonely. And so dating comes from a place of loneliness, and creating friendships come from a place of loneliness and a place of like not having enough of the connections that we desire in the world. And so during this hour, I'm going to invite you to think about ways to create and strengthen friendships by using skills that are really important in dating as well. My name's Kimberly Healy, if you don't know me, and I've been dating a lot. I have a fancy PhD. I have a lot of master's degrees, and I live in a really small town in a rural area, and I get lonely. A lot of my favorite people in the world live far away, hours and hours away. And so I've been thinking a lot about how adults can create and strengthen their friendships. I think also there's a gendered problem. One of the things that encouraged me to date more was that I realized I didn't know a lot about what men were doing or what life was like for men, more or less of my generation. And the one thing that I heard from them a lot was how lonely they are. Things like women don't understand women have community, men don't have something that's called community, or men don't have safe places to go to build friendships, and how hard it is when they lose their mate or their spouse, that they've basically lost their main friend, their main like emotional buddy. So how can we as adults create and strengthen friendships? I've lived on the West Coast a lot. I've lived on the East Coast, and I've lived a lot in Europe. And I've dated in all of those places, and I have friends in all of those places and connections. When I started my coaching training, it was really interesting because somewhere in the second month, the topic of friendship came up, and I realized that I'm not alone, that people everywhere are looking for more friends. And there are cultural differences like West Coast, East Coast, Europe, what those cultures that I'm familiar with, but it doesn't really matter because what we really want is human connection. And so there are ways to take these skills that are important for dating and relationships, like intimate relationships, and work on our friendships. It's true that some of my dates have become excellent friends, but I would say more that it's through dating that I've become conscious and aware of how I build relationships, and I can use those skills in friendships. So I'm a sex, love, and relationship coach. I was an academic for years and a yoga teacher for years. And I really struggled with like living in two worlds, one that was all body and not a lot of intellectual activity. I don't want to be negative about yoga people, but like we're really into the experience and the philosophy and the language, but it's a stream, it's one stream. And then I would put on a different outfit and run to teach my graduate seminars in post-colonial analysis of French literature, right? And there it was all like heads floating, bobbing above disembodied bodies, right? My academic colleagues thought I was a weird person from the West Coast with my interest in yoga. And my yoga friends didn't really want to hear what I had to say about literature, which is fine. They're different things. And so in 2020, I took this certification course to become a coach. And that's when finally, for me, I could bridge my physical being in the world and my intellectual interests. that somehow these can come together in an embodied way of understanding how we operate in the world. And the crucible for that, for me, is how we operate when other people are in our sphere, whether that be intimately or as friends or as family or as children and parents. So being a coach allows me to explore who I am as a thinking being, and also who I am in this skin, these bones, this heart rate, right? So that's really important to me in coaching. And it's actually really important for us as human beings in friendship. You may have noticed that when you're around other people, your breathing, your temperature, your relaxation change. They really change. And we need that desperately. And a lot of us got a very intense dose of the opposite of solitary activities during the last few years, right? I recently visited a prison in Philadelphia where they developed solitary confinement, and they now know that this drives people bonkers. It makes us sick to not have connections with other bodies, with other beings, with other souls. So whether or not you're on a journey to find true love or look for dates, we're all on a journey to be connected to other humans in a way that feeds us, that regulates, co-regulates our own systems. So today in this class, I'm going to go over 5 things that I think are really important for cultivating and improving and starting friendships. And these 5 things are also part of dating, but you can take them or leave them in dating. And really today's focus is on friendship. I'm not going to tell you that making friends as an adult is simple or easy. I'm not going to tell you how to act so people will love and like you. I really am not going to encourage you to be different than you are or to change. I'm also not going to promise you any results. There's no secret code to friendship. There isn't. Also, this is not a sales pitch. I have nothing to sell you at the end of this talk. You can just relax. You can take what works for you. It'll be recorded and the recording will be up and I'll share that with you. What this talk is an exploration of 5 mind shifts that might help you commit to your friendships, that might help you enjoy your friendships, and the bumps on the road. I am going to introduce you to some different ways of thinking about relationships and challenge you to think about your own hierarchies of value, your hierarchies of connection and of attachment. At the end of the talk, I'll stop the recording and we can have a discussion. You can ask me any questions, or if you want, you can put things in the chat as we go along. I did not look at the chat. Okay, that's fine. All right, so let's start by touching into your own reactions to the thought of making new friends as an adult. Do I have to? Right? Shame comes up, right? What's wrong with me? Why am I not the most popular single mother in my town? Why doesn't everyone want to hang out with me? Fear, right? They might reject me. They may be like, nah, you can't be in our group. Forget it. Impatience, right? Making friends does not happen overnight. And I'm an impatient person. Frustration, like, why can't I get this right? Why is this so hard? There could be a lot of sadness, grief, right? It's hard. Embarrassment, like, right? Bewilderment, despair, defeat. So my friends on the computer, let's breathe into that a little bit. Icky. Kind of feel like I have to pee, like I want to hide, feeling like, I'm going to make some new friends. I'm going to try to have better friendships as an adult. Just feel that in your body. And what I want to say is you are not alone. The vast majority of people think that they're the only ones suffering from feelings of not belonging, of not fitting in. It's ironic. The thing we most have in common with other people is the feeling that we don't have anything in common with other people. And so many of us are powerful and organized and articulate and accomplished and competent. And yet friendships and dating are still a challenge. Creating connections with new people can feel like an uphill slog, a series of disappointments. And it's okay to acknowledge this. If you open up any newspaper in Europe or in the US, all you're going to read about is this epidemic of isolation, epidemic of loneliness, this loss of social connections that's the bane of the Western world. But there is a way that dating skills can help you to strengthen your friendships and to create friendships. And it can be scary and it can be awkward and it can be really amazing, because in connection, we learn, we thrive, and we need other people in order to grow and to find love, any kind of love, self-love, platonic love, hot love. There's a lot that I can't cover in our 1 hour together, so you can just relax about some of the details. Friendship, like many human experiences, is complex and it's context driven. I live in a small town. You might live in an anonymous urban area. You might have issues, making friends with kids, without kids, making friends in different socioeconomic levels, safety, all sorts of different things come up that I'm not going to cover like on the nitty gritty. But I would like to talk about sort of the bigger picture. And the first thing that I want to do is celebrate that you are here for this talk, that you are thinking about taking care of yourself by making friends, by connecting with friends, and that you're willing to embrace learning and trying something out. As adults, we have not been taught how to be happy and make new friends and find dates. At least I didn't get that anywhere along the way. I've had to figure it out, and I've had some terrible mistakes along the way, right? So taking an hour to come hang out here means that you're honoring your desires, your needs. You're making space for this question around friendship and connections, and that's a generosity to yourself. So bravo, bravo. All right. A confession. Last weekend, I spent too much time alone. I went running in the park and I started crying when I was running. I was thinking a lot of woe is me thoughts. I feel like I don't fit in, like I somehow missed out on all the good social opportunities. I did too many weird things. I blurted things and now people don't invite me to their parties, or maybe I expect too much of people, or all the good people in my life live really far away. And I was missing so much this comfort of like lying on a couch with a good friend, like talking about nothing at all, making a cup of tea, not having to worry about being too much or taking up too much time. I was missing that in my heart, this old friend comfort that feeds my soul, and I want more of it. But some weekends are just lonely. Things happen, right? People are busy. It's challenging. Thinking about friendships is a way to also start making friends with yourself, to learn a deeper level of self-love and acceptance. There's an art to this, right? It's easy to constantly complain or to just remove yourself from the dangers of making friends, from the risks, to just isolate. When our desire for connection withers or becomes an irritant, we don't thrive in other areas of our life. For me, I lose sleep. I become short-tempered. I can fall into victim mode easily. Nobody loves me. Oh, it's embarrassing, right? I'm a grown-up. I should know better. But like, it's like 8th grade again. Nobody invited me to their party. I'm all alone. I can feel resentful. I lose my creativity. I become overwhelmed. So this is what happens when we don't tend the branches of our friendship. And there are ways to do this, to approach creating friendships and cultivating friendships as an adult, where you're not constantly triggered, you're not looping into despair, and you're also not just checked out and giving up. So let's start. I have 5 key values or mindset shifts that I would like you to reflect on. And these are challenges that come up again and again in friendship and in dating. So here comes number 1, constancy. Friendship is a long, slow game. As adults, we don't have the kind of time we had in our youth. Not many people can spend a whole Saturday like painting our nails and gossiping and just having that downtime together. Time is limited and we have a lot of demands on our time. And as humans, when things are uncomfortable, we want them to change quickly. We want something to come and remove the suffering. We want to know where we stand, if things are going to work out, if we can trust people around us. So constancy means making friends by showing up over and over and over and over again. The biggest difference in my mind between dating and friendship is that the older and the longer the friendship, the better. Like it's the long, slow game here. In dating, it's fast, right? We're rushed. We meet someone once and we're like, yes, no, right? I would like you to think of friendship as a long, slow, constant practice. If you've read The Little Prince or you've seen the movie, I love it because the fox in the English version is played by Gene Wilder. He tells the little boy, if you show up at the same time every day, then you will tame me and I will tame you and we will begin to know each other. So constancy is a way of cultivating and showing safety. A lot of my new friends are friends that I have become friends with very slowly because we did the same thing over and over for months. When I moved back here from France to the small town where I live, a friend mentioned another friend, a French person that I might like. Like we didn't know each other. We just had a mutual friend and it was awkward and stilted, like, bonjour, ça va, hi, you know. But this new friend or connection and we made an agreement that we would go on a walk every Wednesday morning. We had a standing appointment. Sometimes it was a short walk, maybe half an hour, depending on our schedules. And sometimes it was a longer hike. Sometimes she brought a dog. Sometimes I brought my problems to vent about. Slowly, we began to expose our inner selves to each other. We're both self-sufficient, strong, sort of independent people. But over the course of months on these walks, we became friends. And knowing that we would see each other every week gave me time to think about what I wanted to discuss and gave her time to like slowly reveal her dreams. And we practiced slowly becoming friends. And then she moved away, which is too bad, but we still talk on the phone, like on Fridays. And this is a friendship I know I'm going to have the rest of my life. As adults, we really need this kind of constant, low stakes parallel play. It can take a very long time. If you can regularly show up for someone or something and be patient, like you're taming an animal, this constancy will lead to all sorts of connections, slowly. Some examples would be when I went to France, I would go to yoga class on Fridays and I would try to talk to this Australian woman after class every Friday for a minute or two, right? This very slow, constant. Constancy is such a good practice. And the other person doesn't even have to know that you're practicing this connection, but you continue to show up. This brings me to number 2, which is challenging in relationships and friendships: commitment. And this is obviously in dating mostly a problem word, right? This person can't commit. This person wants to commit too much. And in my coaching, I've noticed that often people are really hesitant to commit even to themselves. And when I talk to my friends from other places, you know, we on the West Coast are seen as very non-committal and flaky. I would like to reframe commitment as something like acceptance. And friendship is an excellent place to practice not giving up on people. In dating, like someone doesn't answer a text, boom, they're out. Or you have one weird conversation, they said they crossed the line, poof, forget it, you're gone. That's it, red flag, no, you're out. We don't want to accept any potential partner who is flawed in any way. But I am here to say we want flawed friends. It's awesome to have flawed friends. We want to learn how to accept and commit to people who do things that aren't perfect. I have a really dear friend I have known for over a decade. We go on long walks, we talk about our relationships, and we study and practice yoga together. He's my yoga buddy. And we don't agree about everything. And sometimes he disappears for months at a time. He's not my friend. I mean, he's my friend, but I don't see him for months. Also, some political things we do not agree on. And I just tell them straight out, I'm not discussing that with you. If he were a date, I would have thrown him to the curb immediately. Kind of guest visitor back there. But as a friend, I can commit to the long run. So I can commit to not getting upset when he disappears, because he's going to come back. And we're going to have good conversations again in the future, even if there are gaps. I can commit to my friends in ways that I might not be able to commit to potential partners. And this is, for me, really good practice. Committing to friends means not giving up on them, not being reactive when they do a thing you'd rather they didn't do, like if they cancel, or like I said, that, you have a weird political discussion. Showing up for them when life is hard, even if they haven't been perfect, is really important to practice. I love my flawed friends, because then I get to be flawed as well. And from them, I can learn the very basics of commitment and acceptance. Often, our abilities to commit and to be committed to are uneven. So in your friendships, you can notice how much you're willing to commit and accept them, but also how comfortable you are accepting commitment and acceptance from others. Some of us who've had traumatic childhoods are really good at showing up as loyal and caring and committed friends, and not so good at accepting that gift from other people. It's not always even. And this sort of play with commitment can really inform our intimate relationships too. All right, number 3, courage. It's so embarrassing and scary to ask someone new to be your friend. Looking for new friends is an act of bravery. I don't know why this is, if it's because of what we learn as adolescents or it's some kind of cultural value, but making new friends can feel scary. And it's funny because dating takes a lot of courage too, right? But somehow for me, I have more trepidation around asking someone I really like to do a friend thing, become a friend, than asking a potential intimate partner out. It's much scarier. But thinking of making friends as a way to practice your bravery and practice your courage and accept the possibility of rejection will really help you in all sorts of ways. It'll help you create art. It'll help you market your business, right? It'll help you ask for a raise. And it's a little bit low stakes, because the only thing that's going to really suffer asking for friendship and not getting it is your ego, right? But of course, our ego matters a lot to us. So when I was in graduate school, I admired a very chic and smart woman who was a few years ahead of me. It would have been really cool to be her friend. She was really cool. I was not really cool, but we didn't have classes together and I didn't know what to do. And I decided to go for it. Like if I wanted to date someone, and I asked her out. It was weird. Will you be my friend? And she's just no. First I asked someone, I checked it out. Do you think she would be my friend? Could she be my friend? And they said yes. And so I asked her out. I still even get goosebumps thinking of doing this. Said, hey, I'd really like to be your friend. Do you want to go out with me? And we went out to a fancy bar and ordered pretty pink drinks. I don't know about pretty pink drinks, but she did. And we laughed, and we are still friends decades later. Practice asking people out, is a really simple, low stakes courage thing. Even just recently, I know someone here in my town who seems interesting. And I was like, do you want to go do a friend thing? Making new friends it can bring up all of your old wounds. You can realize that you're a scared bunny, but you can be brave and you can try it. Asking people to be your friend is also going to require you to have courage to face yourself, right? Courage to be rejected. I recently talked to a friend. She was like, I told so-and-so that I wasn't working on Friday and they didn't ask me to lunch. And it's well, you got to do the asking. You got to say, I'm not working on Friday, and can we have lunch together? And this is surprisingly hard for adults to just say, hey, I'm looking to build new friendships. I'd love to spend more time with you. Even when it feels like you're in 8th grade again and something bad will happen. All right. Number 4, this is a really good one. This is a positive one. Creativity. When I coach people around dating, I encourage them to think in much broader terms. If you're not trying to make babies with someone, then expand your age range, expand your expectations. The people you might most enjoy as friends might not look like you at all on the outside. I often see like groups of women out for drinks that look like all sort of similar. And I'm like, oh, I want a tribe. I want to be like surrounded by exactly the same people and then feel so validated, like I belong. A whole posse, just like me, a bunch of me's. But really, in reality, my favorite friends are much older, much younger, have made completely different life choices, and enjoy doing things that I would never do. So friendship is a really great creative play. It's an opportunity to practice letting go of assumptions, letting go of identity politics. We can be incredibly close to people who aren't just like us, which isn't necessarily what we've learned growing up, right? In the US, the education system is just so much about pushing people into groups of similar age, similar status. If you are dating, you could fall in love with someone who doesn't look anything like you expected. People have a lot to offer that you might not see on the outside. Thanksgiving is coming up, and I'm stressed about navigating the various families dynamics, the people who are coming here, as a parent, as a child of parents, and so on. And the person who has been the most supportive of me and the best friend talking about this is a 72-year-old divorced man with no children. He's an excellent friend. I can talk to him about my family situation and he gets it right away. Like, he understands me. So be willing to surprise people with who your friends are. Be creative and enjoy trying connections with new people. They don't have to be from your world. They don't have to be like you to be friends. You can go out of your age range. You can go out of your sort of lifestyle range and see what happens. Obviously, this sort of creativity and expectations will serve you with dating as well, right? To just sort of take a moment and see. All right. So before I forget, I am here to help on this journey if you're interested. Some of you may be ready to dive more deeply into this adventure in self-love and honoring your desires and working on building connections. And maybe what's stopping you is feeling alone in your quest or not having the support you need to celebrate yourself. So I can make this simple for you as a coach. I can help you identify what it is you really are looking for, what you really desire. It's interesting. A lot of my dating clients end up saying that what they really want is creative fulfillment or more friendships. I work a lot with embodiment practices and self-pleasure practices to help you get closer to feeling what that desire is in your bones, to feel it fully in your body and embrace it. A lot of desires around friendship and dating come from our ego, from our mind, and maybe actually at odds with what's going on in our body. If we work together in coaching, then I would dig in deeper around blockages that come up. It could be around your family of origin. It could be around stories of self-worth, rage, bad memories, resentments, all of the things that sort of get in your way when you're looking to build more connections. And then after that, in coaching, we would redefine and refine your desires and goals, because there's a way to have integrated desires and goals where your heart and your body and your mind are on the same page. And that takes a while. A lot of times we think what we want is what someone else told us we should want, especially when it comes to connections with other people. And then I would help you take some action steps towards actually realizing these goals and cultivating the positive feelings around them. That would be homework to start actually living the desires that you have identified. And then finally, celebrating a new transformational mindset, moving towards your goals. I can help you get out of your head and into your body through creative somatic practices. And sometimes that's what we need. We need a witness, a coach, another person to help us move out of our heads and back into our bodies, right? After a recent session, a client just wrote me, she's like, oh, I just had an amazing experience. I didn't get caught up in my head. I felt led by instinct. She said, it was the coolest session ever, truly. And I need to be doing more of this sort of sensory work. And this is all so important when we're thinking about connections with other people. So you can book a breakthrough session with me. It costs nothing. I'll put the offer in the comments of this video, and you can turn dating and friendship into a self-love practice. If you can work on rebuilding the connection with yourself, it will be amazing how much more deeply you can connect with other people. So it's easy to set up a time with me. You can see the link under in the comments, and we can talk about that and see if it makes sense for you. I'll help you figure out what's working for you and also what you might want to do differently. Obviously, when we have our first conversation, we will both decide if we're a fit, if we would like to work together or not. And you might be wondering why I'm offering this for free. I want to hear people's stories. I have become fascinated with dating and friendship and how we don't necessarily know what to do. I mean, you could read a lot of self-help books, but it all changes and when you're actually in the reality of another person right in front of you, and your nervous system is on fire and you're trying to figure out how to get what you want from them and also offer who you are authentically. Connecting with new people is hard and it's confusing and it can bring up a lot. And coaching can really help because then you have this sort of safe space to go to work through what it is you really desire. Okay, let's talk about my last piece. This is very useful. I'm assuming that you who are attending are familiar with this, but I'm surprised at how many people I talk to don't know about this. So number 5, if you're thinking about friendships and dating, is relationship anarchy. So this is a term coined by Annie Nordgren in a Swedish essay in 2012. And it's really, really useful for people looking at building friendships and looking for love. So my friends who are in open relationships shared this with me first, and it's been so helpful for me in friendship and dating life. So basically, the idea is as adults, we have a lot of different needs. And it's entirely possible that one person won't be able to meet all of these needs. The concept of relationship anarchy comes from people in polyamorous and open relationships, but it can be totally used for monogamous people as well, not just people in more open configurations. I have a yoga buddy. I have a favorite tango dance partner. I have 3 excellent writing friends. I have dear coaching, wild, witchy friends. I have other friends with whom I go to Mexico. I have friends with whom I deconstruct academia and culture. I have other friends that are useful for hiking to the tops of mountains, and I cherish all of them in different ways. They all fulfill me. As we continue dating and creating friendships, it can be immensely helpful to break it down and to change the narrative, to embrace the fact that we are fulfilled by different people in different ways. So that's what relationship anarchy is sort of like breaking it up. Like, who do I enjoy cuddling with? Who do I enjoy cooking with? Who do I enjoy heady discussions with? Who do I enjoy doing handstands with? Highly unlikely at my age with my obscure interests that one person can fulfill all of that. So it's not about expecting one friend or one romantic partner to be proficient at and enthusiastic about all of these things, or even have the chemistry there, right? You know, some people are really the people you want in your kitchen, and other people are really the people you want in your bedroom or in your car as you're driving to Arizona. Affection, companionship, intellectual stimulation, outdoor activity partner, co-parent, there are all these different roles. And you can just Google relationship anarchy. You can see there's all people made different schemas and sort of different flow charts of how to think about it. And as adults, it makes sense that they're not they're not all perfectly filled by one person or even maybe one group of friends. This is why it would be good to build other connections with other people for other things. So I went pretty fast. I'm going to wrap this up. And so these are the 5 things. Constancy, right? Keep doing it. Slow, long game. Constant, 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 right? Every Monday, hot tub with so-and-so. Every Wednesday morning, a walk with so-and-so every Friday, a text check-in. It can be a small thing, but this constancy is so soothing to our souls and makes us remember that we're not alone. Number 2, commitment, or as I was saying, acceptance, right? I'm in it for the long haul. I'm going to be here for myself. I'm going to be here for this person. Even if they flub it up, even if they hurt my feelings, even if I hurt their feelings, I'm going to keep it up. I'm going to be committed. Number 3, courage. I'm going to be brave. I'm going to reach out. I'm going to use friendship as an opportunity to improve my own courage, because I need courage for other things I'm doing in my life. Number 4, creativity. I'm going to think outside of the box. Maybe my new good friend is going to be 20. Maybe my new good friend is, one of my favorite friends is a gay lawyer who goes to sex parties and that I would never go to, right? Allow yourself to be creative as you are in anything that you would do in life. Think about being that creative in your friendships. And then number 5, this idea of relationship anarchy applied to friendships, right? No one person is going to be all of those things. Not necessarily, perhaps, maybe you will find that one person, but that there are really great people to play music with. And then there are other really great people to go swimming in cold lakes with, right? It's not necessarily always the same people. These are all ways to get closer to yourself, to honor and respect yourself, and to move towards connections that honor and respect you. So that you're supported, you're supporting yourself, and you're supporting others. If you want to get better at this, you have some options. You can keep doing what you're doing or not doing, and I hope it gets better. Or you can commit to some of these things, try them for, I don't know, from now to the end of the year, or for this person or that person in this context or that context. I think that in the United States, we often think that friendship has to be like a soul-bearing heart connection from the get-go. And I would really encourage you to think about friendship as a practice of constancy, commitment, courage, and creativity that may go in different ways than you expect, right? That's not just about the sort of best buddies, but it's about having a web of connections with people who support you and who are of interest to you. And if you're interested in a coaching session to see if we are a match, you can just check the link in the comments. And I'm going to stop the recording now.